Hello folks, and welcome back to another marvelous video. In today's episode, we'll be traveling back in time to the myth and legend of ancient Mesopotamia to talk about a force that can crush armies of men alone with a glare that can stoke the flames of torment and angst within your soul until it ravages your frame, rendering you defenseless while you await your death in disbelief and torment. We're talking about the Aqrabuamelu, or the Scorpion Men. These are fearsome creatures who are bound by their fealty and devotion to their duty as gatekeepers of the Underworld. They feature in a diverse array of texts and records, often with the towering frame of a human until the torso, beyond which they possess scorpioid limbs and a stinger. The Aqrabuamelu is a figure that's steeped in ancient occultist rituals as a symbol of strength, sustenance, and protection from foes or evil forces. However, their origins are as varied as their accounts, so without further ado, let's dive right into them. Before we get into our explanation though, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Origins of the Aqrabuamelu. The Aqrabuamelu are very similar in stature and temperament to the centaurs that appear years later as mythical cryptids or divine forces. Their legends can be traced back to the Babylonian myth of creation in the Enuma Elish and the Babylonian retelling of the Epic of Gilgamesh. These are creatures who are formidable guardians who would seldom stray from their course of action or their duties. They are said to inhabit the highest of mountains where the sun rises and sets to keep watch over the underworld and warn traveling folks of dangers that may lie ahead when they embark on treacherous terrain. In the creation myth, they were created when the goddess Tiamat raised an army against the younger gods to exact vengeance against and smite the younger gods who betrayed her mate, Apsu, the eternal void below the earth, followed by the underworld. In the Epic of Gilgamesh, we see that the Aqrabuamelus are entrusted to guard the gates of the sun in the mountains of Mashu. In some Akkadian and Sumerian folklore, they were supposedly given life with the blessings of the god Enki, who also happens to be the god of wisdom and water in the ancient Mesopotamian pantheon. However, what's particularly interesting is that we encounter the depiction of scorpion men in a completely different light at a time and a place far from Mesopotamia in the Aztec civilization. In Aztec myth, they are depicted as creatures that are both benevolent and spiteful, were banished from the heavens for defeating the gods. The beastly human form of Aqrabuamelu. In the tableau found in the ancient tablets of Mesopotamia, the Aqrabuamelus are chronicled as these mammoth creatures that soar past the highest clouds with wrathful glares that can strike terror upon the hearts of those who so much as bat an eye or share glances with them. Their glances bear a psychosomatic impact upon the onlooker that starkly resembles the onslaught of Lovecraftian horror. It's said that those caught in their glances would be delivered an instant death. These are celestial humanoids whose upper frame is that of a towering mortal bearing features and attributes of a man with tannings on the skin, rendering an olive or beige complexion, which is about what an average male from the Middle East and some parts of Africa would have. Their musculature is pristine and divine, similar in stature to the most distinguished class of warriors. In some of the illustrations, they are either seen wielding a bow and an arrow or a sword, occasionally donning armor and a helmet. Beneath the torso, their body transmogrifies into that of a scorpion carapace of humongous radius that splits into enormous limbs scuttling across the ground. Like a scorpion, they possess a stinger to discombobulate and incapacitate their enemies with a crushing blow. In some depictions, the Aqrabuamelus are shown with wings protruding from their backs, which can be interpreted as their ability to fly. Characteristics and behavior of the Aqrabuamelu. The Aqrabuamelu are an elite species of humanoid who cannot be pushed around. They are an absolute powerhouse who are anchored to their divine purpose. Their aura exudes impassioned loyalty for their hallowed legacy. The Aqrabuamelus derive a strong sense of pride from their devotion to the gods and their clan. They are known to be highly argumentative and ill-tempered, much like the centaurs from Greek mythology. As warriors bred to dismantle threats, they will not hesitate to engage if they catch wind of anything unruly or eerie, or anyone who doesn't subscribe to their beliefs. Anyone hailing outside their creator culture will be met with the utmost disdain, and an altercation will surely conclude in a duel, one that, rest assured, would not turn in your favor. The Aqrabuamelu are often invoked as benevolent sprites who offer immunity and protection to wanderers. They have offered worship and offerings as a symbol of sustenance and strength. Having originated in ancient Mesopotamia, the etymology of Aqrabuamelu is structured on two root words, Aqra, meaning human, and Buamelu, which means scorpion, which is fitting due to their dual nature. The Aqrabuamelu's dual nature symbolizes the duality of intellect and primal strength, of nature's hospitable protection and hostile wrath. They are a crucial figure in various esoteric practices, often seen as emissaries from the divine. Their role as intermediaries between the mortal world and the divine is of paramount importance. In occultist or mystical rites, it's believed that aligning oneself with the Aqrabuamelu's spirit creates a protective barrier against evil forces or threats. Guardians of the Underworld. Aqrabuamelu's role in mythology. The trope of Aqrabuamelu recurs in the cultural myths and beliefs of Mesopotamia and Egypt. They're an integral figure in the Mesopotamian cultural imagination and ethos. The Scorpion Men are formidable titans who stand between the underworld of infinitude and the mortal realms of despair. These creatures' origins cannot be ascertained and remain shrouded in mystery even to this day. However, what cannot be contested is their role in the myths and lores of Akkad, Sumer, and ancient Egypt. However, in most of these myths, the creature is often associated with Ninurta, the god of war and agriculture. In some myths, the creature's dual nature and hybridization are often attributed to it being an offspring of a Ninurta and a scorpion goddess. In the Epic of Gilgamesh, a seminal text that offers an evocative insight into the ancient Mesopotamian pantheon and cultural roots, we encounter these scorpion men who were residing at the mountains of Mashu to guard the gates of Kurnugi. They were bound in fealty and patronage to serve as the protectors and stand guard at the gates of the sun god Shamash. These creatures, who were at the behest of Shamash, would open the doors every day as he went out and close them at the dawn of night upon his return. Powers and abilities of the Aqrabuamelu. The Aqrabuamelu are celestial creatures endowed with abilities and perceptions that far exceed mortal endeavors and pursuits. However, based on its appearance in different myths and reimaginings in fiction, we've attempted to curate a decisive catalog of what these creatures are capable of should the occasion arise. As humanoids, they bring in the best of both worlds. Their scorpion exoskeleton offers them a heightened awareness of movements, which enables them to detect and dispatch unwarranted presences. The Aqrabuamelu have the inherent ability to communicate and maneuver every species of arthropod to their command. As part of arachnids, they can establish and conduct an exchange of information through the dissemination and interpretation of acoustic vibrations and pheromone dispensation. As cited in mythical sources, they can deal a deathly blow through their stare. Akin to the centaurs, who are supremely gifted in armed and unarmed combat, their quivers boast arrowheads that are laced with venomous poison, which they can launch across miles to dispel foes or threats. As scorpioid creatures, they can naturally deliver venomous stings while pinching their targets. The symbolism of the Aqrabuamelu. Duality in form and function. These mysterious beings represent the duality of the universe. The Aqrabuamelu are chaos intertwined in the cosmos, and this notion permeates and structures their existence. Contrary to popular misrepresentations in popular culture, Aqrabuamelus are not these vicious, beastly mammoths who prey upon anyone and everyone. The scorpion is universally acknowledged and recognized as a symbol of protection, transformation, and solitude. Now, the Aqrabuamelu reside in the harshest of mountains, offering sanctity and safety at the gates of the underworld, or the sun, which is again a metaphor for they are situated at the cusp of life and death, heaven and earth, chaos and cosmos. It is this law of universal balance between decay and life that they strive to maintain. As part scorpion and part man, they represent the dynamic of opposites in life, of intellect and primacy, of primordial dangers and the salvation from the same. The human torso can be interpreted as the rational and civilized aspect, while the tail of the scorpion is the wild, untamed side of humanity that lies repressed in our minds. Their caricature unites and embodies the essence of universal and moral good pitted against the blinding and amoral evil. Interactions and symbiotic relationships with other spirits and deities. The Scorpion Men share a complex dynamic with the gods of the Mesopotamian pantheon and otherworldly beings or presences. They are often seen invoking the aid of gods to forge alliances or to serve as guardians with steadfast dedication to upholding the laws of heaven and earth and unfailing loyalty. In some traditions, the Aqrabuamelu are seen to offer their services to protect and offer safe passage to the sun god Shamash as he journeys to the underworld at night. On the other hand, associations with Ninurta and Tiamat further elevate their status as divinely enchanted creatures. These interactions also suggest how pivotal their existence is in upholding the law and order in the universe to ward off evil and malevolent forces that may seek to disrupt the balance in the cosmic hierarchy. It makes sense why the Aqrabuamelus were held in such high regard in ancient esoteric practices and occult rituals for divine protection, strength, and vigilance. Aqrabuamelu in modern culture. Legacy in fantasy and pop culture, the Aqrabuamelu never fail to entice people and continue to hold a unique appeal in the hearts and minds of scholars, readers, and fans of fantasy fiction and emerging canons of popular culture. The ethos of this bestial creature has found its way into historical retellings of action and adventure, ranging into genres of fantasy and thriller across games and movies. The most remarkable adaptation has perhaps come from the action-adventure thriller franchise of The Scorpion King that began as a spin-off of the Mummy series. It's a tale that blends traditions of historical antiquity with ancient Mesopotamian mythological retellings and Egyptian chronicles of gods and kings. Contrary to the mythical traditions, we see that the last Scorpion King, who initially started as a king, invoked Anubis, the god of death, by recounting and chanting the incantations from the Book of the Dead. He offered to raise an army in the name of Anubis to ransack and invade Thebes and build a golden pyramid to fulfill Anubis's vow. Contrary to what the myths purport, the Scorpion King, an ordinary mortal, becomes a humanoid scorpion. We see that nearly 5,000 years after the Battle of Thebes had transpired, the king had returned to the pyramid in the oasis of Sher, where he metamorphosed into a giant scorpion from beneath his abdomen, with two giant claws that replaced his hands. Despite his monstrous appearance, the king was still capable of communicating in human speech with reason and intelligence, a fact that connects us to his humanity even in his transformed state. He was eventually slain by Rick O'Connell, who freed him from the curse laid by Anubis. Marvelous verdict! There are theories and explanations galore while the origins for this enigmatic creature remain mired in ambiguity. While some scholars are of the opinion that these creatures were merely the product of imagination, others argue that the Aqrabuamelu may well have roots in the existence of actual creatures that roamed the earth. Well, what we can tell you is that they certainly have immense potential, and they're criminally underrepresented in modern cinema. Imagine a host of genetically mutated scorpion men scouring the earth in a post-apocalyptic world. That sounds insane, right? Why doesn't anybody make that movie? Before ending this video, here's some food for thought that we'd love for you to ponder. What do you think? Could these creatures ever have actually existed? Does it perhaps hint at the existence of a now extinct species that the ancient Mesopotamians had caught wind of? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section down below. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. This is Wizard Wheezy signing off for now, but you can always find me on Twitch. Thanks for watching, stay safe out there, and have a marvelous day.